You had to play against United. You're managed by United legend in Mark Hughes. You got a game at Old Trafford, and you had what must have been one of the greatest games of your life.
I remember everything about that day. I remember everything about that day really clearly. And I remember being afterwards, because the game was massive for me, right?
Yeah.
But you can imagine, we drew 1-1. So I didn't keep a clean sheet. We didn't win the game. It was a big result for Stoke, don't get me wrong. So I don't think Stoke had even had a point at Old Trafford for, I'm tempted to say, like 60 years or something. It was a long time since Stoke had a point at Old Trafford. So it was big, but we hadn't won a game. So, you know, it was no high fives in the changing room afterwards. There was no champagne or there was no celebration on the team bus. So when you get on the team bus, and I'm like this, with my phone, like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And the other lad just sort of sat there like this, like, decent point now. Have we got next week? Yeah, we've got to try and get it. We need a win. And I'm like, I'm buzzing. I've got all this excitement inside me. I'm thinking, oh my God, are you not mental? I've just like made 10 saves at Old Trafford. Are you actually just, and everyone's just like, no one's really saying anything. Sat at the back and like, Phil Bardsley's, I think, sat next to me, and he's played at Old Trafford enough times to not even care. And Crouchy's sat there and he's not bothered. And it's like, Joe Allen's done it enough times. He's played at Liverpool, so he probably hated every minute of it anyway. Yeah. And it was like, oh, this is amazing, lads. I can't believe no one else is wanting to like... And then you get in your car and drive home and sat in traffic. I remember sitting in traffic from Knutsford to Stoke on the way home. But yeah, just that was amazing. I loved that day. I loved everything about the performance.
The atmosphere.
The atmosphere, everything. I mean, to a degree, you don't take in too much of the atmosphere.
It's a really interesting emotion, I guess, that you had, because it reminds me of Igalo, who's spoken about, obviously he's a lifelong United fan and he played at Old Trafford and against United for Watford. That desire to want to beat that team. Are you not tempted to go like, oh, I love United, let them win. Let it all go in. Go on, lads.
Just throw one in.
Yeah, no, I get that. But you think about it, so if you're a professional athlete, so what you want to do is, you're like a peacock in that moment. You want to puff your chest up and show them who you are and show your personality. And although you're not, although you might not have that crest on your shirt, and of course I had the Stoke badge, which I was proud to be wearing. I wanted to show Man United fans and everybody in that stadium, I wanted them to just, it's not consciously. I didn't come out of the tunnel at Stretford and going, I want the fans to remember Lee Grant's name after this. But subconsciously, you're like, I really want to do well today. I really want to make some impression on this game. Almost to a degree where I was thinking, I would hate if this game ended 0-0 and I've not had a touch. And then people go, oh, that was easy. God, Man United were poor. And man talk about Man United. I would have much rather we got beat 5-0. I'd have made 10 saves and people went, oh, you had a real good game. I know you got battered, but what a game you had. Well done. You can be proud. I would have rathered that. In the end, we got a point and I managed to still make some saves. So, a clean sheet would have been even better. Martial broke my heart when he came on and scored. Absolutely broke my heart.
Have you spoken to him about it since?
No, he wouldn't remember that meaningless goal against Stoke. Anthony scores goals like that every week. Me and Anthony have a nice little... we have this nice little battle, actually, and I'm always on at him in training, and I'm always digging him in training to try and do better, and that I've always got the upper hand. And whenever we're shooting, if we're doing a drill that's really normal, they might even just be running a phase where they're passively shooting into the goal. They're not even shooting into the goal properly. So the phase will finish in the midthird, and then it's like someone will shoot, but the shot's not really full tempo. If Anthony shoots and I save it, I'll go 1-0. 1-0, Anton. 1-0. And then he'll do this. And then he'll get this horror, like this glint in his eye. And then the next one will come through. And it won't matter if the gaffer said, don't worry about the shot at the end. Just finish just before. He'll come through and he'll want to shoot. And then it's like this mad 1-on-1 scenario. And then he'll score and he'll go, and it's like 1-1. Or he won't even say nothing. He'll just do that. And then I'm like, oh, next one. And then we do that all day. And we have this lovely little rivalry that goes on between us. And actually, you might have caught it. The goal he scored at home against Bournemouth where he cuts inside and hits that unbelievable strike.
Yeah.
The third goal was it? I think it was the third goal. And he looks up in the stand and he just looked up at me like that. And I was stood up and just giving him applause, because that's the type of thing he would do, and he would love to have scored that goal against me. Probably more so than he would love to have scored it against Bournemouth, I think.
Another day that must have been, although the result was, I guess, disappointing, but I mean, we mentioned it earlier, but your full debut where you started against Astana in Kazakhstan, obviously, as Maisie and I were there, and we went to Ollie's press conference the day before, and I remember it really stuck with me. Like, not only did he talk about you a lot, but he was so passionate and positive about how dedicated you were and making sure everybody knew that. And it wasn't just a case of, here's a guy we've got and he's going to play this one. And, you know, it's a different, like, as you said, a lot of the younger players were playing. But, like, it sounds like your influence at training and stuff is just massive. And is it hard to keep that, because obviously you're in the latter stages of your career now, to keep that level of focus and determination, or do you just absolutely love it? Because talking to you, I'm now gutted we don't get podcast shirts, so I can't look at a badge on my chest, because your attitude is so infectious that I imagine to have you at training would be such a joy, unless you were someone like Maisie, who I expect would just want to like kick about at the back and not get shouted at.
Well, thank you very much for saying so. Yeah, no, listen, the gaffer obviously said some nice things about me that day, and that's probably that one press conference opened my eyes a little bit to some of the things I was doing, perhaps subconsciously I was just doing anyway, but he probably opened my eyes to how I'm viewed at the football club, and what my role is, essentially, what my role is. And listen, I know that anyway. My role, when I signed knowing that David De Gea was established as Manchester United's number one. And Sergio Romero is absolutely pushed in every inch of the way and performed fantastically whenever he'd had an opportunity, and is still doing. And those two have been going almost like hammer and tongs, really, pushing each other for the last few years, 3-4 seasons. Those two, you know, Sergio's been at the club pushing David. Of course, Sergio would love to play more. I see Sergio day in, day out, and the guy wants to play. He cares about playing for the club. He wants to play every single game. He doesn't just want to play on the occasion that you see him play, when he plays in the cup, and you might go, oh, I imagine Sergio's going to play this next game. No, he wants to play in the Premier League, and he wants to play the following week in the Premier League, and he doesn't care that David signed a long contract. He wants to play because he's a serious professional. And I'm the same. I'm an absolute, and we was talking with the goalkeeper coach the other day, I think part of the reason why I work well in the role that I'm in is because I do want to play. And as daft as it may seem, if you're from the outside and you don't know myself, or you might think, well, Lee Grant's gone there, he knows full well he's not going to play. He's just happy to be there, collect his wages and go home. Now, that wouldn't work for anyone, I don't think, because that would have a really short shelf life. And if that was the case, the gaffer would come in, he'd smell it a mile off. This guy, look, he's not interested. He's here for, maybe he's here because he's a Man United fan, and that's all he wants to be here for. Or he's here because of the status it may give him, or it might, flatter his ego. Listen, I'm here. My role is to push those other two, but I have to do it to sort of justify that to myself. I have to do it in such a way that it's real for me. So I have to do it and do it as if I'm going to play. So I have to prepare to play. And you might think, well, Lee, are you really preparing to play? Really? And the answer is yes. I have to prepare properly to play each week, even though the likelihood is that I'm not going to play. So I have to control my emotions, and perhaps that's easier because I'm a senior player, I'm older, so I'm not going to get carried away thinking, I'm not going to be here and be like, I'm going to play on Saturday and then be on the floor on Monday because the gaffer's not picked me. That would be stupid. So I have to remain very even and with my temperament and my emotions, but I still have to do the right things, which means being professional. Prepare properly, prepare to play. And then if I'm not playing, I have to be ready to do the other things to help the team. which might be say the right thing at the right time to somebody, or just generally be a good presence around the squad, not be a negative influence. Because maybe I'm sure you'll have had players that when they weren't playing would suck the energy or the life out of a squad. You know what I mean?
It seems to me now, Granty, that the squad that Ollie's built now, you can see it I can see it from my perspective of being an ex-player there. And since the gaffer was there, Sir Alex, since he's left, I've never seen, I don't think I have, a squad as happy and goal-lucky as it is now.
I knew this was going to come up, and I knew one of you two were going to say that in this podcast today, because it occurred to me that I was thinking about where this conversation might go, and you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. You've absolutely hit the nail on the head.
You can see it.
And
all the lads are buzzing.
So the gaffer's done a wonderful job of shaping the squad with the characters that he wants in a way that will allow people to thrive and the right energy to be within the squad. And that's, as I say, with no disrespect to anybody that's come before or anybody that's was here and is no longer here. What we've got at the moment is really working and is given a really good foundation for young players to do well, for senior players to be rejuvenated and find their best form, for players that may have been unsettled to come back to the group and be, I can see myself in this group. I can connect with this group. This is a group I like the look of. I absolutely believe in what we're trying to do as a team and where we're heading. And I want to be part of it. So all of those elements have come together. And what you're describing is that the gaffer's managed to do all of that somehow. I don't know how he's done it, but he's managed to do it all. And it comes across for you guys in the press, or anybody that's watching the football club now, anybody that's watched since the restart. Maybe, Sam, the performances scream that, don't they? Happy.
Yeah.
They scream of a squad that's happy, playing with an element of freedom, but understand what their role is. They're going to do what they need to do, whether they're getting the limelight or not. Everybody's pulling in the right direction, and it's a pleasure to be part of, an absolute pleasure.